Hello. You are muted, Kayla. Hang on. You're talking. We can't hear you. Oh, the fairy stole her. She'll be back. Kayla is not at her house this morning, so she's trying to make this work. But good morning, everybody. Hi, Amy. Um, that's hilarious that my cat wants to be noisy right now. So hopefully Kayla will able to join us back real quick.
Know what happened?
I'm like, oh, we can't hear you. Let me adjust your mic. And as I was moving the cursor, like you disappeared. I'm like, well, the fairy stole her.
Speaking of paranormal.
Yeah, and I'm like, and just as you were coming back on, my cat decided I had a Walmart delivery of some of their peppermint coffee because I stockpile it. So I have it for the whole year, and another 2 or 3 bags came in. And was so rushed this morning. I just kind of like tossed it by the door and came over here. And now he's like, ooh, let me go make biscuits all over this crinkly loud paper. So if you hear that, I apologize. He's having the time of his life over there, apparently.
Well, that's what matters, right? I mean, he's happy. Okay, I don't think I can join the chat. I think that's what I did. So I see like a couple comments popped up, but I think what happened was when I tried to like chat, that's how I lost you guys. So I guess I'll just
I'll put them up on screen like I normally do. But thanks for joining, everybody. And it's funny that Sith is being noisy, and right before we went live, Kayla had to take her kitty cat and put him out of the room because he was starting to be a little bit of a nuisance with the plastic on the windows. So I'm like, how appropriate, because we were going to talk today about pets and the paranormal, how they act, how it affects them. And I think every one of our friends here in chat with us, everybody has at least one animal that is in their lives on a daily basis. So I'm sure there's questions. Hey, Chris. Chris is an animal communicator, so Chris may be able to help chime in and chat with us too. So
we could just brought Chris right on with us.
But so we're going to talk paranormal. No worries. See, Melanie's like, my girls walked on the keyboard because that was the message right before that. So. But now, Kayla, you might have a little more experience on more of a broader scope to speak from, because you have been to way more paranormal places, people's houses, not just public places that you rent to go hunt. So like, what is one or two main things that you've noticed in family houses that have pets that have paranormal activity going on?
So in general, pets and kids always notice things sooner because they're just way more sensitive, way more open. And people, adults, we just tend to get autopilot and just ignore things that are going on around us. But I can't really ignore the fact that my cat is trying to claw through the door right now. If you hear obnoxious noise in the background. But animals, it really depends, because some spirits will actually want to play with the animals and the animals are okay with it. The animals become friends with them. There's also spirits that want to attach to the pets and use them for an energy source, or, change their temperaments, that kind of thing. So it really depends on the situation. But sometimes when so I'd say more if I'm getting called in for a clearing, not more of a who am I, who's visiting me in my house, there's stuff going on and it's friendly. I would say like the change in temperament is a huge thing with animals, especially if they start getting more aggressive, more snippy about things, whether it's cat, dog, even birds. I had a friend whose bird actually started attacking people because of spirits in her house. Like everything was like good, fine. And then she was also a spiritual worker, and she started doing dabblings in some things, which really upset her bird, and the bird became an attack bird. So even though it was just a smaller bird, it was one of the more interesting cases I worked on because I was getting dive bombed the entire time by a bird. So those are the things to watch out for. I mean, animals go through their own little weird things, but there's definitely, just like if somebody comes into your house, a human comes in your house that they don't like or they're unfamiliar with, they will act differently. They see things we don't see. They feel things we don't feel. So I feel like most people that have had an animal have noticed something, even if it's like a new mailman and the dog barks different, or your cat's staring at something weird and maybe it's fairies, because we talked about that during the fairy one. So I feel like most people with animals have noticed something odd with their pets at some point, even if they haven't noticed something.
Oh, Chris was like, I had to drag my cat out of bed this morning, the little slug. I had to drag myself out of bed, so I'm right there with your kitty cat.
Yeah.
You know what, Chris? We'll have to see if there's a Wednesday that you can sneak off of work again and maybe share some stories with us.
Yeah.
Amy was like, Nacho says, Nacho room only, let me in. So
Yeah, that's pretty much, Nacho runs everything.
now, have you noticed, Kayla, like the difference between the humans and the animal have their house, there's no ghost in it, they act one way, the ghost comes in, they obviously have that change like you were describing. What if the family is moving with their pets, they go into a house and the ghost is already there? Like, how might the animal react, or, like what might be the clue?
That can always be a little bit more difficult because some animals take longer to adjust anyway. The new changes, new smells, new sights, all that stuff. So hiding is a really big thing. I've noticed a lot of animals will hide, and it will be areas that they like closets a lot. Cats will find spots in the rafters. They want to get somewhere where they feel like they can't be reached. Of course, we know that's there is no like boundary with spirit, right? If they want to reach you, they're going to reach you. Cats tend to also want to be in their litter boxes. Like, it's their smell, their territory. So a lot of cats will actually hide in their litter box, or just, take up residence in their litter box, even if they don't want to use their litter box. So some will actually start, going around the house, but they will use their litter box as a safe spot. So change in like bathroom habits, your dog not wanting to come in from going to the bathroom or not wanting to go out. Just so there's a lot of different things. So even though it could be, oh, we just have a new surrounding and all these new experiences, they could definitely be experiencing a whole different paranormal level of things that you're not noticing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now, you mentioned like coming in and them hiding. When I came into this apartment, Sith was cramming himself up underneath the wash sink behind toilets. And I just assumed it was because we moved, right? New place. And holy cow, he had only ever been in the house previously. And I'm like, wow, this is really shaking you up. And then come to find out, like, there was not only a woman who turned on my gas burners at one point. And,
I remember that well.
Yeah. And that 20-something-year-old guy who I actually, on purpose, on a live with Mary Ann, put a seat on my door and trapped his ass in here because he thought he was hot shit. And I'm like, oh, yeah? Seed. Now what? So that was a fun live. But once, they were out of the apartment or whatever, like, he calmed down and kind of went back to typical Sith behavior. But you're right. Like, I just assumed in the beginning that it was because of the move, not because he's a big scaredy cat.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even if you had spirits in your other house, which you did in your situation, and moved to another place, there's still going to be an unfamiliar energy, an unfamiliar sensation to them. So it's still something else to adjust to. So really just paying attention to the small little things that really probably aren't a small thing. For animals and kids, sometimes those small actions, those small behavioral changes aren't really as small as you think they are. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to, oh, I'm going to the bathroom outside of my litter box, or I, didn't ask to go outside to go to the bathroom. Mom and dad are going to get mad at me. Well, they might not be being let to where they want to go to the bathroom, or might not being let to their bed area that they want to go to. But as your companion and wanting to make you happy, they don't want to also kind of let on that there's something wrong. They don't want to get in trouble for doing these things. So and there are spirits that just want to play with things. I've definitely had that for sure. I couldn't read that.
I know, and this is one thing I found funny with the problems that I had in my past house before we finally got that wrangled, and even here, there's always, I'm sure everybody who's on the witchy side of social media, cats are big protectors. They walk between the worlds and they're going to kick any ghost butt, right? And I'm like, here's my big black, baby hiding behind me, like doing
Right.
everything opposite of what,
Yeah.
cat memes. Still love his little furry butt, but he is not the spiritual protector. He's oh shit, I'm going to go hide. So have you found?
Ironically, my black cat was that way too. She was afraid of everything. It's like, you're a black cat. You're supposed to be the scary one.
Yeah. So have you found there are certain breeds of either cats, dogs, or are, let's say, birds, are they more proactive of trying to protect the family or do the spiritual boundary than other types of animals or breeds?
Honestly, I think it's more just their temperaments. At least from my experiences, it's more their temperaments. Horses are super sensitive. Horses are insanely sensitive, even to other people's, medical issues. They get used a lot for like mental health therapy, things like that. Donkeys, I've noticed, kind of don't give a shit. So I worked in a barn, volunteering and helping with energy healing for donkeys, and there's some paranormal stuff going on there. And the donkeys were just kind of like, "I'll kick you. You might not feel it, but I'm gonna kick you. I don't care." So they would get like really, really moody. And it was just that was just how they deal with it. So I don't know that my personal experience. Chris might have a better answer for this if you can hear me, Chris, about different breeds, that kind of thing, or species, because I've just noticed across the board with what I've done that it just kind of doesn't really seem to matter. I mean, ferrets, even hedgehogs, they just roll into balls. They're like, screw you, you can't get through my quills. So I've had a couple hedgehogs and with the spirits in my house, and usually if they're being like weird, like I would just notice them curl up in a ball either in their cage or like at the corner of a room or something, and it was usually when there was something paranormal going on, they just rolled up into a ball and went to their own little world. So it really just kind of, for me, it just depends on the actual animal's personality.
Amy says, my cat hid in her litter box for a few weeks when we first moved here. I had to get an extra box.
Yeah.
You know what? At my old house, when I had that old creepy guy,
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. He was making it to where Sith couldn't go in his litter box.
Yeah.
So Sith was making messes where he shouldn't have been. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, I've got the house on the market. I need you to not be doing this. And, so I was trying everything, and even put like foil down where he kept making the messes. Cause supposedly cats don't like foil. He would do it on the edge of the, and I'm like, oh my God, cat, really? But, perfect example of the paranormal making your animal do things that they normally wouldn't do.
Right.
And I think at one point too, Amy, I got a couple extra boxes just to see, like, was he that stressed out that, people were in and out of the house for showings and everything else. And, no, wasn't that. It was the dead guy being a jerk. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Yeah, Chris, if you can hear us, make a sound. Hello, Crystal Cat. Our friends coming in a little later. We're talking about pets and the paranormal. So if you have questions on how that is, how it works, or if you've had an animal and you think you've had a ghost and certain things were going on, it is a safe space to ask. We've got Kayla, psychic medium, animal pet lover in chat. We did have Chris, but I know Chris is at work right now, so she may be hopping on and off watching and listening with us while at work.
Can I write her a note, like from Reverend Kayla Ray? Can I write her a note that we need her spiritual expertise? She must miss an hour of work this morning, every Wednesday morning.
She needs an hour away. Oh, thanks, Chris. She's like, hot-blooded horses seem to be the most sensitive, and that is due to them having more reactive personalities. But I agree with you. It is just like us. The personality has a lot to do with it. She's like, I'm here. I'm here.
She just had a lot to type for us as we just kept rambling on.
Yeah, she's like, I'm coming. Just give me a minute.
Closed-in litter boxes. I noticed it was a huge thing for cats, too. They become like absolutely petrified of their closed-in litter boxes. Like if you have one of the covered ones or like one of the robotic ones, if there's spirit activity going on and they can't see what's going on around their litter boxes, I've noticed that with quite a few cats.
Oh, really? So they can't, it makes them nervous if they can't see if somebody's sneaking up from a side, right?
Right. Or if they can feel that. Right. So they know what you feel like, just like we do. We know what like a family member feels like when they come into a room or leave, the house, that kind of thing. But when they can't see out of it and there's some paranormal activity going on, I've noticed that's definitely caused some issues for some of them. And even after a house clearing, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to kind of adjust. Like a lot of times the animals will have an instant release and people notice like, oh, they're already being more social, that kind of thing. But sometimes it takes a couple of days for them to be like, I was getting traumatized by this thing for weeks. Now I don't know why it's not here. So they know something changed for the better. It just takes them a little bit to trust. Their trust is broken. They went to an unsafe space or what feels unsafe to them. And so, they just need a little bit of time to adjust.
Now I know like my mom's house, she's had some activity in her house. And at the time she had a couple of Lhasa Apsos.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry, they were Shih Tzus. A dog we had as a family way back when was a Lhasa Apso. His name was Ewok because he was brown and he had the jetted teeth and he looked like Ewok. But it's funny because I think they had one cat at the time. The cat was kind of like, what, just walked in here? And the Shih Tzus were like, they could care less, did not react, was just, like
their little world, their little dog world.
Yeah. They're like, you got treats for me? Cool. You gonna pet me? Cool. If not, I'm like, wow, these are not very good, protectors. Like something's in the room. They're like, but, do you have any like good advice for somebody either moving in and now the animal's acting different because there's a ghost, or maybe a ghost follows them home from the dentist office, like, and things are going weird?
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't always have to be something in your location, right? It can be something you brought with you. And then they might act different towards you because why does my owner feel like something different? And you might not feel it. If you're not in tune with things, you might not feel what's going on, but your animal's going to pick it up and they might not want you to pet them or hold them or, be too close to them because they're trying to sense what's going on around you. So there's so many, like a lot of our topics, right? It comes down to like an individual situation. So trying to make these whole blanket statements gets a little tricky because maybe it's like a friendly spirit that used to work with animals and they really want to be invested in playing with your animal, or like they're there and they're, trying to have fun. So I'm just trying to read that question. Sorry, I have to keep zooming in because I can't.
Melanie asks, can our pets who have passed away come back to check on us?
Definitely. They absolutely do. And they can stay around. I have one that absolutely stays around. It's been 18, 19 years since he's been gone, but he definitely still checks in. And I have my most recent guy that I lost 2 years ago who's with me a lot also. And Nacho, so my Nacho that you've all seen at some point, he is very sensitive to when my cat Loki, who passed away 2 years ago, when he's around. Loki always used to sleep up on my face. Nacho, even if I try to bring him up by my face, he's like, oh, hell no, that's not my spot. Like Loki still has his territory and he has like his certain things in the house that you can tell Nacho's just like, I know I do not belong there. I've been put in my place. And again, same with cats and dogs, that kind of thing. Fish, I don't know. I don't talk with my fish that often. They just kind of do their little thing. I don't know about fish and being affected by spirit. But I totally skipped over the last part of that other question because I got distracted with that one. I actually just had a cat put to sleep last week, my black cat, and it was on the same day that Loki passed away. So it's actually kind of interesting we brought this topic up too, because I had said the week before, oh, I wonder if Loki's going to come take Colby on his day. And she sure enough did leave with Loki on the 11th. So there's
boy.
Yeah. So there's ghosty spirits helping, even with animals, there's ghosty spirits helping living animal. And, he helped her pass over. But yeah, so he was such a good boy. He was not a cat. Anybody that met him knows he was not actually a cat. He was just stuffed in a really furry body. And so he came and took Colby and helped her through her process. So they definitely are around. They definitely will help your other animals, or they can traumatize your other animals. I think every once in a while I ask him to put Nacho in his place. I'm like, dude, you were so mellow. You were like the best kid ever. Can you please like give this thing, this obnoxious beast, he's crazy. He really just is. Like, please just give him a little guidance and like help him be civilized a little bit.
Debbie. Hey, Debbie. When Peaches comes for a visit, Izzy B will move to the other side of the bed. And kind of like, Nacho and Loki. Loki's like, no.
They still have their place. They still have their dominance, right?
And Chris says, yes, they do. My cat, Phoebe, is still around and naps on dining room chairs. You can feel her weight when you move the chair. Oh, like, good Lord. Oh, it's just Phoebe.
So do you remember when I got my house and I had the old crotchety old lady that lived in my house before me, which I thank her because she told me when and how to put an offer in my house, which was great. However, she was very crotchety. She also had a very, very obnoxious little black dog. I swear that dog had a life insurance policy out on me for like the first year that I was in my house. Like, if I trip over this thing one more time, and part of it was my own fault because I didn't bother like clearing out everything because of the way that this lady passed. There was like a lot going on with the family and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll let the dog stay here with her because it'll help her with her transition. Like, here I'm trying to be like sympathetic, just like I am with humans for things. And I finally got to the point like, no, your dog has to go. I'm sorry. Like, tripping with a screwdriver in my hand, not the best. Falling with a laundry basket, not the greatest. Like, there's just things going on that I'm just like, I'm sorry, little dog. You need to move on.
You need to go outside and go run around and burn off some of this energy, little puppers. Chair Bear, good question. She's like, are human spirits and animals, or are they their own thing?
So that is also a very diverse topic. And there's like a belief system that goes with that, right? Like, I joke that I was probably a turkey in another life because I'm just not coordinated and I'm kind of plump. So, but I think, that goes into a topic also kind of past lives. Like, there can be intertwined things between animals and cats, or like we joke about our DNA, right? Like, you're probably part cat.
I'm a leopard.
So, yeah. So there's definitely like intertwined parts of like humans and animals, and could we have been like, so I've also seen where people have lost, if they've had a miscarriage and then next thing you know, a dog comes into their life, or a cat, like an animal that has more personal traits. And the opposite, where somebody's pet has passed away and then next thing, somebody in the family is having a baby. So the human world and the animal world and spirit world all kind of intertwine in together. There's like a whole, constant flow of how these things work. So it can be a baby or a spirit, a soul that wasn't ready to come here as a human, which most of us probably wish we could have been like, abort mission, but here we are. But there are souls that could have chosen to give up those lessons and been like, yeah, I think I would like the option of being a German Shepherd for now. That would be cool. So there's definitely various things with that too.
I always said I would like to come back as my own cat because life would be great, but that can't happen, right? Can't be in two places at once. So I'm like, oh, I just need to come back as one of Chris's like horses or cats or dogs because they got the life over there. So if I can't be my own pet, I'm going to go be like, hey, Chris, adopt me. Take me in.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I think about like, so Loki and I had a past life together. I know that very well. I know, like, he told me that when we passed. So, like, we had this really familiar energy. He actually came and told me that we've always had short lifetimes together, and we've always been in a war or battled something together in every single life that we had. And in the last life, I left him sooner, so he left me sooner in this life. And I was like, oh, that's really sad. This is really cool, and thank you for coming through to tell me this. But I'm like, so what was the connection with Nacho? Because Loki definitely sent me Nacho, and Nacho is definitely more of a Loki energy, like as far as Loki, the god of mischief and mayhem. And so he definitely sent me Nacho. He loved tacos, so that's how I found out about Nacho was, all these signs about nachos and tacos. I'm like, okay, I get it. And then this cat pops up for rescue. His name is Nacho. I'm like, okay, I get your drift. And it was very, very soon after I was not at all ready for another cat. And Loki was just like, no, yeah, you need this one. So they come through and they still help us, with things. They're still a soul. So I do believe, I would like to actually hear Chris's opinion on this. I do believe there's animal souls that are animal souls. But I also believe that there is, so like you have your animal totems, your animal spirits, those kind of things. And I feel like there's like genuine animal souls, but I also believe there's like the mixed part where it can be an animal and a human soul going back and forth to what they want to be. So we'll give Chris a little bit to type in because she can't just verbalize an answer. And I know it's so much harder to type. But
yeah, Chris says, my pug Omar passed a few years ago, and I'm 100% sure that my cat Merlin is Omar. I honestly, when I got Sith 11 years ago, I was so sure that he was an old cat of mine come back. Because even though his name was Sith, I kept wanting to say Squall, and that was the other cat's name. And he too was a big black cat, very snuggly, very, very similar. We kind of thought he might have been part like Ragdoll or something because he was so big and he would just go limp when you picked him up. And so for the first like few months, I kept saying the wrong name, and I'm like, you've got to be Squall, back again, because the name just will not stop coming out of my mouth. So, at times when I get on the floor and I'm like, you're the bestest boy, like, pardon me. And I'm like, both of you, because it's like the two in one. Yes, you're right, Chair. We encourage you to put pet pics on the Discord.
Yes, please do.
And because like
there's never enough pet pics.
Sharing pics of Omar. And you've got some pics of Loki you can put up, and because I loved his little bow tie, his little collar bow tie. He was
always smiling. He had this like permanent little cat grin. He was just adorable.
He was.
And he loved his bow ties. He would actually get upset with me if I took off his bow ties. They were his thing. Such a dapper little boy.
He was adorable. So guys, if you have any questions about pets, the paranormal, how it works, how to help them, that maybe when there's, a ghost in. So like you mentioned briefly before, Kayla, that like sometimes that relief of clearing the house isn't immediate for them because the cat or dog or animal is like, false sense of security. I'm not ready to accept it yet. Like, do you have suggestions? And Chris too, if you're able to type in, how to help them accept that, it is now safe and relaxed.
Sometimes the best thing to do is really give them their space to sort it out on their own. Because a lot of people, like, your natural thing is to want to pick them up and hold them, but that's not how animal instinct works. It's just not. Like, our human nature of nurturing is like, that's what we want to do. That's what our DNA says to pick this up, hold it, comfort it. The animal world is not that. The animal world is, this is showing a weakness. I can't show a weakness. So it's definitely, even though it can be hard to watch them go through it, it's better to just kind of let them sort out. If they come to you, by all means, give them the comfort that they want. But forcing that on them can also make them feel like, okay, this energy traded for this. Why is this happening to me? So, again, that really depends on per animal. Some might get really clingy after that. Like, oh, I feel like I can get close to you. I did have a case where there was a cat. It was a private residence. They had a couple cats. They had 2 really big dogs. They were just, mixed breed dogs. The one cat, more than any of them, was very, very sensitive to everything. So he had all the things, the hiding in the closet, the litter box issues, they finally put litter boxes in closets for him. There's just all these things, hiding, running. Every time he would try to go to another room, he'd just run for his life, basically. He never just moseyed through the house. The other cat was kind of aware of spirits, but not so sensitive to them. He was actually one that was really skeptical the first day. But while I was doing the clearing, he started following me around, and he actually came to me, stretched up my legs. I picked him up and was carrying him around, and I carried him up the stairs because he was hiding in the basement for like a whole week before I came. This cat would not leave the basement, and they tried everything, and they finally just were like, okay, like, just stay in the basement. So when I came carrying him up the stairs, smudge stick in one hand and a giant fluffy cat wrapped in my arms, the look on the family's faces was like priceless because their eyes were huge. Like, how are you holding him, and how did you get him to come up the stairs? And he was just ready to be out of the basement, but didn't want to come up the stairs by himself. He was literally just sitting at the stairs. And when I started talking to him, he was just like, yeah, I want to go up there, but, this is a little scary. I don't want to go up the stairs again. I don't want to get thrown down the stairs again. And so when I carried him up the stairs, and he just totally relaxed as soon as I got up the stairs. But when I left, so he was pretty much like that with me for most of the time. I mean, he followed me around after that, and he wasn't bothering with his owners. It was a good few days before he actually started adjusting on his own. It was being more social with his actual people. It's like he sensed my energy of being, the protection part that was pushing the spirits away. And he kind of wanted to stay in that little bubble of my energy. But he still had a hard time with his humans. Like, you kind of let this happen to me. Even though it wasn't deliberately their choice. It was just, he just needed a little bit of time to warm up to them again.
Crystal Cat says, I once had a dream that my cat told me my tummy hurts. I took her to the vet because she wasn't eating. And it turned out she had a blockage.
Aw, poor kitty.
So I guess that's something too to talk about. Like our cats they are spiritual little beings. And when you're really connected with them, like you get
telepathic communication.
Yeah.
I mean, I very vividly remember, actually was when I was down where I'm at right now, the first animal that I used to get little things from animals. I had a full out conversation with somebody's service dog. And when the dog started talking to me, I turned around looking up, expecting a full grown man to be standing behind me to have this conversation with. It was not. It was a dog. It was very detailed. And I actually ended up crying. I sat on a curb out on the side of the street crying because I'm like, how do I tell this lady her service dog is dying? And he just told me all these things that he helped her with. And that was my first, very, very full, in-depth conversation with an animal. And I was like, holy crap. So then I really wasn't sure how to tell that lady. And come to find out, they were actually just here for a wedding. They came to the little town just to check out the little shops to kill time in between the actual wedding and the reception. And so they were basically just passing through for 2 hours, and all this transpired. And we ended up standing, me, I'm not really a crier. So hearing me and this lady are crying, she's like, it's okay. Thank you for telling me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, your dog's why did I have to be the one to tell you that your dog's going to leave you very, very soon and you need another one? And that was the big thing the dog wanted her to know is I'm trying to help you. She was very reluctant to get another service dog. And that was one of the big things her dog was telling me is I'm trying to help her. Would you get her to listen? Would you get her to pay attention to, I am dying. I am leaving. I'm trying to get her another dog. I am trying to throw these dogs into her path. And she's not even catching this. So even while he was still here, he was trying to help bring another dog into her life because he was passing. And he wanted to make sure, him as being her protector and her guardian, wanted to make sure she already had somebody trained and that he could help train before he left. So that was a very interesting situation. Not so much paranormal, but more from the spiritual and healing side.
Oh, right. Okay. So Chris, she's like, I had to get over to YouTube because Facebook was getting blurry. And Facebook be Facebooking sometimes. I don't know what's up with them in the wild.
I have a friend who calls it devil book. And I'm like, that's really much more accurate.
But she says, I believe that there is some animals that come back as animals. I think that when it's coming back as human and animal is more of a guide type energy that needs to be more supportive in certain life events. So now you got me thinking, Chris. So when I pass, and I've already threatened Rune, I'm going to haunt the shit out of him. And he just laughs. He's like, whatever, Mom. But I'm like, ooh, do I come back as an animal, like a cat, and just trip him in the hallway all the time for my own event, my own pleasure, my own enjoyment. But, if he's doing stupid stuff that I can see, I can always just cat bop him really quickly on the head, stop it.
Cats get away with that, right? They get away with the swats and the bites and the, the things.
Right.
You definitely don't want to be a human again.
No. It's like, how do I arrange for someone to read my girls? So,
sorry,
Chris or Kayla, the ladies.
Yeah, either of us. I can't really speak for Chris, but I'm assuming she would also just take pictures, send us a picture of the animal. It would be through email or messenger for me. We could do a live chat also. Some people like to just have their readings typed out. So, and Chris, if you want to type in, as I'm blabbing, if you want to type in your requirements or for how you want to do things. But I mean, it can definitely be over the phone. It can be a video reading. But a lot of people choose to just send a picture. If there's specific issues you want to address, like a medical thing that, isn't being understood, or okay, I do not have Discord. I guess I'm going to have to get that because that's like a thing now. I'm really reluctant to want to have social media stuff, and I'm getting dragged into it regardless.
so Discord, for anybody else, it's like it is honestly probably, at least like our channels and others that I follow, is some of the more relaxing type of social media, because when you go in there, you might see like, hey, there's some new updates, and you don't have to see them. Like, so you have your Discord, and then you have little channels. And like ours, we have show us your, familiars, which your pets, book recommendations, tarot recommendation. And if you don't click on tarot, you're not going to see what's in there. You can completely ignore all of it. It's not a constant live, like in your face, and you have to scroll past it. You can literally choose. It's almost like the very beginnings of social media before everything was like immediate, in your face, moving pictures, moving video,
Yeah.
It's kind of
MySpace version. I kind of miss MySpace.
Yes, right, Chris. Very good point. If you're local, can go to Goddess Elite and do it in person. Yeah. Chris also, she's like, pictures are good. Photos. She also does Zoom readings. So
in person is always an option if you're close to one of us. That's always, So,
which I do. And Chris, I'm sorry. Like, I saw that you sent me a message on Facebook, and I forget where I was, but I wasn't at the store to check that. And I have purposely left it on unread because it's still highlighted that it's new, to remind me, like, I need to finish addressing that. So, which I will be in store today. So I can check that out. And Kayla, like, one of these days we get to have you come back to join us. Though I was going to ask you, and I'm like, I used to go up your way this time of year before the weather got bad, but I know you guys have been so busy.
Yeah.
Like, did she hint at that? And I said, let me get back to you. And then I completely did it.
I think we've both been we've been having our lives run over by medical appointments, so it's hard to schedule stuff. But I haven't really done anything like that. Or obviously you would have been the one that was going to be coming up here, but I haven't really been networking a lot in my area. I'm just it's been a lot of word of mouth things, which I'm good. I'll take that instead of having to do all the advertisements and everything. So something we could consider doing. I haven't really addressed anything with venues or anything either. I just really, all the surgeries last year and everything, I haven't had the opportunity to even like consider setting up something or running something, but it is something we could address maybe early next year.
You can send them to me, email, or, if you want to print them out and send them. They are in Discord. So if nothing else, I can always go in there, find them, pull them down, get them.
I will say this. It would probably be best to reach out to one of us, or either both of us, one of us directly, instead of having Melissa in the middle. And Melissa has enough going on for one thing, but also so we have the direct channel to you and to your pets versus, a lot of things going on. That way we can communicate directly one-on-one with you instead of being like having to send Melissa back our answers. And then if you have another question about our response to something, it would be easier just to keep the line of communication open where we can just go back and forth that way without having Melissa or like a Goddess Lee's page or that thing in the middle. Because it does become a lot. And also, many of us have a lot of, we take into consideration people's privacy and, those kind of things. Maybe your animal wants to tell us something about your personal life. Do you really want other people knowing that? So animals will do that. So they do sometimes share your dirty little secrets. So just something to keep in mind. We try to value people's privacy. And so same for their animals, their house situations, anything like that.
So Chris, if you want to put in the YouTube chat your email for Melanie, Melanie, I do have your info. So that way, if you would like to talk with Chris, you have direct line with Chris. Kayla, yours was what? Beyond Earth Healing
Yeah.
at Gmail?
Uh-huh.
Because my brain is not working to pull up what Chris's email that I'm like, have I ever seen it? I'm only on my first cup of coffee still, so the brain.
We do need to set up our Facebook page too. We keep talking about it, and then we just keep getting it. Like all of a sudden, it's Wednesday again. That's the problem. It was like just Wednesday. Now it's Wednesday again.
Let me tell you. So I chatted with Kayla last night about our topic this morning. We were originally going to talk on something different, but Heather was unable to join us. So I'm like, oh, we need a new topic. And Kayla's like, yeah. So even though knowing when I went to bed, today would be Wednesday, and at 10 a.m. we have a chat.
Yeah.
I woke up late, not feeling that great, but I'm like, oh, I got a few hours before I have to be at the store. And then I'm sitting down and like mid coffee to mouth, I'm like, shit. And I'm like, I've got 20 minutes to at least be presentable from the waist up, and act like, we're all fine. So it's been a morning. It feels like a Monday today, even though it's a Wednesday.
This week has been a really, really weird week.
So I'm adding the whole make a Facebook to my list of
I would offer to do it, but I know it has to go through all your other connections. So that is beyond my scope of things.
So I swear this list just gets longer for everyone I knock off 3 more pop on.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go. So yeah, there should be a Facebook page. Wow, coming here soon. I did put
her intentions are good.
Yes.
The time we just need like an extra 15 hours in a day. That would help.
So even Melanie is like, that is an understatement about it being a weird week. It's interesting. Kayla, do you get into the whole solar flare thing and how it affects us down here on this pebble?
Really not so much. As a photographer, hell yeah, because I'm all about chasing the northern lights. On an energy level, not so much really, like the spiritual part of it. It kind of hurts my brain, I'm not gonna lie. But I think part of that is the other planetary energy that I'm just like, how is this affecting Earth isn't really how it affects everything else. And I just kind of,
Well, I've never paid much attention. I'm like, cool, science, pretty, woo, astronomy. Because I love astronomy. I don't put a whole lot of validity into astrology. But I am in a few Facebook groups for different health conditions, one of which is like dysautonomia and POTS and everything. And I'll be damned if people were not posting about solar flares and sharing links on science-backed evidence that like it affects the body and how
it definitely does. Like, brain fog, aches and pains. Yeah.
And they're like, here's how and why. So everybody in the group the last 3 days are like, everything hurts more than normal. They're like, hey, in about 72 hours, we're going to get some relief. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned.
And there's been a lot of solar flare, like all through 2024. 2024 is when it started picking up. And I think it should be winding down towards 27. Again, I don't follow a ton. Oh,
damn, Mercury retrograde.
With that Mercury retrograde crap. That's like my nemesis. I hate it. I'd rather have full moons every day than deal with Mercury retrograde.
Oh, see, I don't know. Mercury retrogrades, I'm like, shit goes wrong all year, but you only focus on it right now. So that's why it feels so much. And Marianne and I would even joke back and forth and poke fun at one another because she was all like, don't do anything Mercury retrograde. I'm like, Marianne, how can anybody live their life? This crap happens like 3 to 4 times a year. Come on.
Also, like I used to feel the exact same way, but then it's like stuff always goes wrong for me for Mercury retrograde, and I will not look it up because I don't want to know. I don't want to anticipate it. It's just like when it's going to rain or snow. I don't want to know. My body's going to tell me how much it sucks today. And I try not to anticipate that, right? I don't want to like feed that like whole that thing. So I'm the same with Mercury retrograde. So it's usually like a good 2 or 3 days into it that I'm like, what the actual hell is going on? And why is everything breaking or not working? Or like, why are people horrible about talking about things? And sure enough, I'll like be like, okay, I'm going to look up Mercury retrograde. And it's always like, I'm always like 2 or 3 days late to the party. And it just takes me, so a little while to realize that's why shit's going haywire.
Did you have you noticed if animals react to it?
Nacho's just crazy all the time, so him specifically, definitely not. I feel like some do, but I think that's also really no different than how, like, I have two friends who were actually born during Mercury retrogrades, and it's like the best time of their lives. Like, everything goes so well for them, things straighten out, and I'm just like, overachievers. Um, Nobody likes that kind of energy. They're just like, this is great, while all the rest of us are suffering. So I think it would also depend on where the animal is from, and like where, their soul level, their energy level. But I do think things like full moons and certain like solar flares and stuff will affect animals. They are sensitive to it. Deer. So I'm a very nature person, right? So you can definitely tell there's certain times during solar flares. There's things called soul lunar tables that people use for other things, but a lot of people use them for hunting and fishing also, because that measures where the sun and the moon are going to line up around Earth. So that definitely can affect animals, but they're also not always accurate. But there's definitely times when there's like solar flares or certain full moons where you just will not see anything moving. It doesn't matter if it's like a hawk or a deer or whatever. Like, animals will just be more lazy. So, or just more scarce. So I would say I don't have scientific evidence for this. They're more my personal observations, or like me going, oh, it's a gorgeous day, I'm going to go do photography today and look for animals. And the animals are like, just kidding, we're hiding. And then, those things tend to line up. I just don't follow it that well.
Amen, Chris. She's like, I trust the barometric pressure, not Mercury.
Yeah. So definitely agree with that one.
Oh, good point, Melanie, because I kind of forgot. I'm glad. Thanks for the reminder. Don't forget to write your law of abundance checks tonight. Tomorrow at 1:45 a.m. is the peak of new moon. So
I've been totally slacking about posting that on my page. I used to post that on my Beyond Earth Healing page every new moon too. And I'm personally more of a new moon person than a full moon person. So so I make a bigger deal out of that. But yeah, it is that day.
It is. I would say just do that tonight before going to bed. I'm not staying up till 1:45, man. I'm just gonna write it before going to bed.
Well, you have tomorrow too. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I always
a little grace period.
Bed, or like when I wake up. I know some people are very sticklers, like you have that little window.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you get 24, 48 hours of that energy, right? And I'm like, you don't have to beat yourself up, in my experience. I had started doing, and I noticed a difference. I do a check not only for me personally, but then I do one for Goddess Elite as well. So I was like, Kayla, you have your business, and maybe like Chris, you have your reading business. Like, maybe do a lot of abundance checks for you yourself, and then do one for the business, and see after a while, one or two checks if you're starting to notice, a difference.
The change. Yeah.
I'm like, well, hell, if it works for one, why not the other? Exactly. I treat my business as a living entity. Like, she is a separate entity for me. I am just the carekeeper. So she's living.
You peasant.
Yeah. So try it out. Let's experiment. Like, do it. Yeah. Anybody else who have their own side business, do it too. And we will converge and discuss this in a few months. And like, have you noticed the difference?
And it's really cool how it works, though. It really is. Like, just things like the star tax refund checks. Mine, for the last like 4 years, 5 years, whatever, 4 years, mine's always fallen on coming like not far after the new moon. Like rebates, if you do like a wine rebate or something, I don't know, or like a product rebate. Like, it's been really cool to see like how those things come in like around that time. And damn well the rebate companies are not sitting there figuring out like, oh, it's the new moon, we should shoot out some checks to them. Right. But it's really cool to see like over the years how it works. And I've noticed times where you can actually tell like by the financial flow in or out that you can actually tell when you're getting close to the end of the new moon cycle. It's almost like a hormone thing, like how you can tell like, oh, I must be low in this because this is happening. It's like you like, oh, is there a new moon coming yet? Because things seem like they're starting to slow down just a little bit, and then it'll kind of pick back up right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to do the full a full thing just for that and see if it changes that flow.
Mhm. I do notice it in the store. I'm like, damn, we're kind of slow. Like, let me go. I'm like, oh yeah, in like 3 days, time to write another one.
Exactly. That's what I like. Usually, like the 3-4 day mark is when it's like, okay, crickets, what's going on?
Yeah. And then you got this economy on top of it. So,
Yeah.
writing your own law of abundance check is a free thing to do. And Kayla, if you get that back on your website or your
Yeah.
Facebook or wherever you were posting that, we'll tell people to go there, look at it, instructions how to do it. I've been meaning to wait for a new moon to happen like during normal hours.
Right.
To be like, hey, we'll do a quick live around that time, and everybody's
We should
got
have
like,
added that in today. Why
huh?
didn't either of us think of that? We should have added that in today. Why didn't we think of that?
Technically, it would have been more of a tomorrow thing. So
Yeah.
it would have been like, oh, let's do it tomorrow. And I guess technically we could if we're talking about it right now. Like, everybody join us
But
for a quick live at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're going to do our live, write out your law of abundance. If you've never done it, you'll do it with us. We'll show you how to do it. Right. Thanks for the reminder. If you've never heard about it, I don't know. Are we committing to that, or do we want to see what it is for
I am
next?
not available tomorrow morning. If you want to do it maybe later, I could. If it's like a really quick thing, I have my next couple days are crazy.
Yeah.
But if we want to do like a quick thing later, or I don't know.
Melanie's like,
You're
bring
gonna
it
think we
on.
post, huh?
She's
Oh,
like,
bring it.
bring it on. What time tomorrow? You know what? And as we're talking, like, let me
Uh,
pull up my calendar. Do
I
I
don't
need?
know about anything for tomorrow because tomorrow's going to be a very crammed and play everything by ear day for me as it is. So, um,
Um,
I am pretty much useless as far as something like this tomorrow.
okay.
I have a feeling it's going to go just like yesterday did. And yesterday's note ended on me canning a bunch of soup that I took an entire day to make, and one of the jars blowing up completely in my canning kettle. So that was like the summary of how my entire freaking day went, but that was the icing on the cake.
And you know what, Melanie? Hang on. This also is so back in the day. When I wasn't running around doing a bajillion things and had a few more employees. You know what? Why don't we plan? What day of the week is the 19th? That's a Friday. Oh, that's the last weekend right before Christmas, for those who celebrate. Well, let's plan something for about December 19th, because new moon's going to peak at like 5:43 p.m. What we used to do in the store is we would go live on the day of the full moon, and we would have a cauldron, and I would have like candles and stuff. And, just because it was new moon, whoever would want to log in and chat and visit, you would submit your name or other people that you wanted good blessings for. We would write the name, put it in the cauldron. We had like charcoal, and we would kind of burn it and like send those intentions out, and everybody support everybody. And we used to do that pretty regularly. And then, life, economy, everything else. But I'm like, I should figure out how to get that back into the schedule for everybody again.
All the
So
time, I'm like, every time I do one of the checks, I'm like, I should really just do a live thing and like write out the check, but I don't have like the setup to, should we write out the check, all this stuff. But it's there. The thoughts are there. The actually doing it is just like, doesn't happen.
So
And I used to do the class at my house, like on the new moon, I used to do that. But again, all the surgeries kind of changed.
yeah,
Doing workshops and that kind of stuff.
I'm adding that to my list of things to do. Live TV, guys. Here you go. I'm going to schedule that.
We're one step closer. It's on a list.
Yeah. There we go. So can't squeeze it in tomorrow. But we're going to do it for December, because that's also about a week and a half out before New Year's. So it would be a really good way to put your name in for an abundance blessing. We usually let people put in as many names as they want, because it is an abundance, it's a blessing. So it's like no harm to be like, I want to put my kids' names in too, or put my partner's name in. But if you feel like, oh, I shouldn't because I don't have permission, that's fine too. But so yeah, we'll we'll get that on the calendar for December 19th. Boop. Whether or not that's in the evening or in the morning, I have to check your schedule first and see if we're doing that after hours or if we're going to do it mid-afternoon. I know most people are going to be working, but since that is right before Christmas, we'll
Be a good time. Yeah, before Christmas, before New Year's.
Yeah. But so guys, if you have any last minute questions about any of the topics, I know we started out with pets and paranormal and we kind of touched in on some like reincarnation stuff, like can you come back as a cat or a dog or one of Chris's horses, Mercury retrograde, new moon checks, feel free to ask. We got a few minutes left before we got to hop off here. I have a vendor coming to show me some jewelry at the store. So I do have to not linger too long so I can go up there and meet him and be like, show me the goods. So hopefully we'll be posting some new jewelry up.
I really thought I was going to be able to make it work to do like a whole little Ohio trip, go out to that, out to Sandusky, do all those things. And those things are just not happening this year.
This year has felt so long. And at the same time, it has felt like the shortest year ever of getting anything and everything done.
Right.
About the missing earrings. Have you seen or had laying around, they almost remind me of those little bitty, like old-fashioned gift boxes that none of the stores use anymore because they're too expensive and they're not paying that money to give out freebies. But it's like a little like flip top. I feel like they're in there, but they are tucked away. Like away.
And did you do your work to allow them to come back, like working with actual amber stones and doing the self work? Because I remember we talked about that, like how they want you to work towards something and like towards how they belong to other people and where they're going to go after you, that kind of thing. So working with the ancestral part.
Yeah, she's like, I've been trying. Sometimes just carrying a piece around with you in your pocket, even if you're not actively like, I have amber in my pocket. I have amber in my pocket. Because that almost
a continuous intention for carry it, but set in a continuous intention.
Because sometimes that's going to block, right? Because you're so worried about I have it that you're not paying attention to the subtleties. So maybe just even having, oh, you don't have any. Okay, we'll have to get that fixed. Well, there went that line of questioning or answering. I was prepared. And you're like, actually, no. I'm like, well, now my brain just short-circuited live.
That's where my brain's been lately, too. I'm like, are you in there? Like, I'm really having a hard time functioning without you regularly at this point. It's getting a little old.
Yeah, we'll have to see about getting Melanie.
Is this what it's like to get old? I'm too young to feel this old. I really am.
That's okay, Melanie. It happens a lot. No worries.
Oh, it's okay.
Just follow me around in the store. I'll be walking to go do something. Somebody will come up like mid stride and ask questions or, hand me a bunch of stuff. And then I'm like, why was I walking across the store again? What was I doing? It'll come to me later. Or I'll sit down and I'll look at Sierra and I go, what was I doing?
I still haven't eaten breakfast. I was like starving like 3 hours ago and I just keep finding other stuff to do. And I'm like, and then I was getting ready to do this. And I'm like, I still didn't grab anything I almost missed this like you did. Like we were just both, I don't know, it's been a weird week. And so I got my tea because I don't even have coffee. I was like, went to go make coffee. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah. We're at our country place this weekend. This week into the weekend. And so everything's a little different. I'm like, how did I not bring my coffee with me? And why is all the coffee gone? But I have tea. So that was a whole other process. And it was just like, oh, here we go. It's still continuing today. And I don't know where my brain is. So
she's like, you're not old until you're 100. I remember
about like 900.
Younger me thinking like 30 was old. And I'm like, I'm over 40. Let me tell you.
I'm running on my fourth life here. Like, come on, this is getting a little ridiculous. Like, let's pick one. Am I staying? Am I going?
I have no idea how many times I've been on this planet. I feel like it's been a few, maybe quite a few, which is why I'm so like
Oh, this
I'm
planet, yeah, that's a lot of lives on this planet. I'm
and
just
there
on
are
my
some,
4th life in this lifetime because they keep bringing me back for some reason, and it's getting a little like, come on, let's just
oh, you are so
let's pick one.
adorable, Melanie, and I only look
Oh,
because if I turn off this light in front of me, I look so haggard because the light above me shows every line and everything. I'm not going to show that on the live.
we all have it. We're not immortal.
But uh-oh, my computer will not hide that. Okay, well there we go. There we go. Just wait, the memory thing gets worse. You know what?
I'm technically in menopause, so my memory, as soon as I had that surgery, my memory is like, it has its moments when it's back here.
When I
and
was
other times,
and took care of some of, my older adoptive grandmas, you could kind of see those with memory problems that it was distressful for them. It was uncomfortable, like scary, right? And then you had some that embraced it because they were like, I get to meet new people every day because they're like, I'm going to forget you, but tomorrow you're a new person that I get to meet. And that's how they chose to look at it. And I'm like, I hope I don't have that. But if I do, I hope I can at least somehow figure out to enjoy it while I have to go through it.
That could actually lead to another really cool topic, to be honest.
So
how your spiritual brain doesn't really get affected, but your like physical human brain does.
That could be. Because let me tell you, I feel like this physical car that the body is driving in, I feel like this body was on the lot and nobody wanted it. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'll take that one. I can make it work.
Right.
I'm like, but why though?
And the insurance company's like, we're not covering that thing.
Yeah. Although, I mean, let me not talk too much shit. Like it's hung in there for a lot of stuff. But yeah.
The universe is like, did you just say you wanted us to take your car again? No, thank you. Back off.
Yeah, like quit taking my vehicles, period. But she's like, wait, your babies. It don't feel like it though. It don't feel like it. Like Chris is no joke with that barometric pressure. Like I can once it got steadily cold outside, I'm like, I'm limping. I'm miserable. I'm like
coughing, creaking.
This is what they talked about when I was little. Damn. Not a fan. But well, thanks for joining, guys. I just looked at the clock and I'm like, whoop, I need to be heading up there to see what kind of new jewelry that we will be bringing in.
We all want to see it.
Yes. I know they hinted that they had some new, like really, really pink rhodonite pieces. I think they had new settings for their black tourmaline. So they used to have the ones that were just the prongs. And I'm like, first of all, I don't like that look. I know I'm not the end all be all, but I'm like, and I'm like, second, I don't trust just 3 or 4 prongs holding a stone, and I'm like, so let's see what new settings they have, what new stones they have available. And so we will try and start getting some of that up today into tomorrow. Because that process of like entering it into inventory, putting the description up, telling it to show it online that's the part I hate the most, because to me it's long and tedious, and there's other people that can like whip things up there like really quick.
I would be able to do that.
Oh my God, we're still typing.
That falls in the techie category.
This is like, let's do a live. You know what? If we don't get it in today, I'm out of the store tomorrow. I actually have to go check my Sandusky spot tomorrow. Maybe that'll be something that we can do on a Friday. Especially once we have everything in, because it's usually more than like 2 or 5 pieces. I usually have like a bag full. So keep an eye out for that. We'll do some lives. We'll definitely post some pictures and stuff and let everybody see. But yes, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hey, are we doing a live to next week, day before Thanksgiving?
We can.
I know. Are you guys going to be busy?
I will be here again. So I'll have this whole same ordeal going on unless I can figure out other. We don't have internet here, and the whole hotspot thing that's like bringing extra equipment. So I'll have to see, but I might be just doing a phone thing again. So
kind of like what you're doing here. Melanie's like, please come back, please come back. We could also see if Heather's available. She wasn't available today, which is why our topic had to change, like kind of last minute. So keep an eye out, guys. Tentatively planning on being here next week. If you join us for our podcast, Maria and I, we are taking next week off. So right now, the live will be WooWoo Wednesday, and Sierra and I will be talking to see if we're going to do any live like product stuff. So just to keep an eye out for that and announcements. But thanks for joining. If we don't see you next week, please have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. It's fun. Like I almost can't wait for the big turkey day. Like I purposefully don't eat anything heavy or big for like a good month and a half, like anticipating.
Overindulge. And you're gonna do it the next day too with the leftovers. Yeah. Honestly, Easter and Thanksgiving are my favorite holidays. Like the two oddball ones, but I'm like, there's chocolate and finding eggs involved with Easter. I don't care about the other parts of that. All the new things, right? The flowers, the food. And then Thanksgiving, it's just like all food. I don't care about your presents. I want to eat the food. I want to cook all the food.
And thank you, Melanie. Don't forget to share and like. Tell friends. If you've got friends that are kind of into this, be like, hey, they do these. So maybe they can join us live, or maybe they would want to watch it later because it all helps. Even
or maybe they have fun pictures we can see because we're out of like all these experiences we've had. It's unbelievable that we just don't have the things, but that's how it goes, right? It never fails.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And we may see you next week. If not, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Very probably we'll see you. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Even if we're just rambling again, we'll come up with something. We usually do. Thank you, Melanie. She's like, I talk about your videos all the time. And thank you for your kitty cats who will sit and watch as well.
Yeah.
Mine
Nathan's still trying to get in the door on and off. He's got a paw like underneath the door trying to get in, but
Macho. Yes. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Bye guys.